It is 7 p.m. in Pinsville. Good evening and welcome to Punch News Radio, a 30-minute news presentation of major happenings making news in Liberia and as well. Today is December 7, 2023. I'm Harris Billy, anchoring. Top stories we are following tonight. The 4th Judicial Circuit Court in Maryland County sentences convicted Junior Gbayo to 50 years in prison for raping a 13-year-old child in Maryland County. Mark Colley, a Liberian based in the United States, receives U.S. Department of State honor for championing transparency, accountability, integrity, and good governance worldwide. House Representative instructs its sergeant at arms to arrest and immediately report the living body of Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toy for contempt charges. And away from home, former Civilians President Dr. Anders Roman has been invited for questioning on a field coup plot by the civilian police. We'll take a very short break to be right back. Welcome back to Punch News Read and thanks for rejoining us. Up next is Figo Masari with the news bulletin. Good evening, Figo.
Good evening, Harris. Good evening, everyone. The House of Representatives has instructed its sergeant at arms to arrest and immediately report the living body of Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toy. A report emanating from the House states that the arrest order for Minister Toy is in the wake of his consistent rejection of calls aimed to appear at the legislature in a quest to update the House on many national financial concerns. It can be recalled the House of Representatives recently cited the Minister of Finance and Development Planning to appear before this Thursday, December 7, to provide reason why he should not be held in contempt for repeated unexcused absences before the August body. Plenary took the decision Tuesday, December 5, after the Finance Development Planning Minister failed to honor another citation of the body to appear along with his principal deputies in continuation of deliberation of national issues of concern. A contempt of the legislature shall consist of actions which obstruct the legislative function or which obstruct or impede members or officers of the legislature in the discharge of their legislative duties. It is punishable by a fine of not more than $5,000 and or imprisonment in a common jail for not more than 1 month or the duration of the current session of the House after a hearing consistent with due process of law. Decisions rendered from contempt charges are not applicable. Prior to the latest decision by the House of Representatives, it previously invited Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toy to appear before the esteemed legislative body on Tuesday, November 28, but he again failed to honor the invitation. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission wants President-elect Joseph Numa Boakai to demonstrate political will in supporting efforts to establish an anti-corruption commission court. LACC chairperson Councillor Alexandra Zoe told the Ministry of Information press briefing Thursday that the court, when established, will investigate and prosecute corrupt officials of government. The court will also review legislations and institutional framework relevant to prosecute corruption cases. She emphasized the importance of the Unity Party to consider the campaign promise of fighting corruption and support the commission in establishing the court. The LACC boss added that the commitment of the UP leadership will support key decisions for policy actions and ensure the public trust. The Unity Party has communicated with the National Elections Commission ahead of the certification ceremony this Friday, December 8th, of elected officials of the just ended presidential and legislative elections in Liberia. The Unity Party informed the National Elections Commission Thursday that due to the visit of the president-elect to the United States of America, the issuance of certificate for the winner of the presidential election should be postponed until the return of President-elect Joseph Nyuma Boakai. The Unity Party Secretary General Amos Toy indicated that the party will work with the National Elections Commission to schedule a new date for the issuance of the certificate for the president and vice president elect. He said the public will be duly informed when the new date is set for the certification ceremony. The hearing committee of the National Elections Commission has dismissed House Speaker Buford Chambers' allegations of voting fraud in the District 2 representative election in Maryland County on October 10 this year. The committee, in its ruling Thursday, announced that Speaker Chambers' claims against Alternative National Congress representative candidate Anthony Williams were baseless and lacking substantial evidence. The Speaker complaint filed on October 13 accused NEC staff at precinct 27020 in Old Sodican of engaging in voting fraud, obstruction from campaigning, exchange of vote, insufficient ballot papers at precinct, amongst others. However, the hearing committee investigation revealed a different narrative contrary to Chambers' assertions, noting that the voting process spanning from October 10 to October 11 was deemed lawful, with Maryland County being not an exception. Other claims made by Chambers that the voting process was hindered by supernatural forces, specifically invoking country devil, was also rejected by the National Elections Commission. The committee maintained that the precinct center operated smoothly without any mystical interference. Meanwhile, the legal team representing Speaker Buford Chambers has submitted an appeal to the Board of Commissioners. The U.S. State of Department has recognized and honored individuals and institutions, including Mark Colley, a Liberian, for championing transparency, accountability, integrity, and good governance worldwide. Speaking at the ceremony, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the U.S. government is committed to countering corruption and promoting integrity as a foreign policy priority and core national security interest. December 9 of every year is International Anti-Corruption Day, which seeks to highlight the rights and responsibilities of everyone, including state, government officials, civil servants, law enforcement officers, media representatives, the private sector, civil society, academia, the public, and the youth in tackling corruption. It also raises awareness about the role that both individuals and society play in combating corruption and promoting transparency. Blinken added that the 20th anniversary of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption adoption, the United States is committed to leading the effort to implement the convention to its fullest potential. The U.S. Secretary noted that the United Nations Convention Against Corruption adoption can be achieved through contributions from stakeholders inside and outside the government. Grand Crew County Representative Councillor Fonati Kofa bid for the Speaker position in the 55th National Legislature has received boost following the endorsement of a resolution by some members of the House of Representatives. The resolution, which was signed on Wednesday, affirms that the lawmakers who participated in the signing ceremony have resolved to declare Representative Fonati Kofa as their preferred candidate for the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives. The representatives, through the signed resolution, called on their colleagues to follow the Speaker bid of the Grand Crew County District 2 CDC representative, which will serve as a shared commitment to fostering effective leadership within the 55th legislature. Lawmakers who affixed their signature to the declaration include James Colley of the District 2 Bond County, Josiah Cole of District 3 Bond County, Muema Briggs Mensah of District 6 Bond County, UJ Colley of District 5 Bond County, Gizzy Colley of District 4 Lofa County, Thomas Fowler of District 1 Lofa County, Anthony Williams, District 2, Maryland County, Luther Collins of District 2, Bapolo County, amongst many others. Representative Kofa, main contender, is Unity Party in Montserrado County, District 11, Representative Richard Kuhn. Meanwhile, Montserrado County District 6 Representative Samuel Enders is keen on being the next Deputy Speaker. Representative Enders, speaking on a local radio in Monrovia, Thursday said he believes that with his 2 consecutive years of leadership in District 6, he possesses the ability of taking on that mantle of the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. Other legislators who have declared their intentions of being Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives include Representative Mema Briggs Mensa of Bone County, Representative-elect Michael Thomas of District 4, Montserrado County, and Representative-elect Priscilla Cooper of District 5, Montserrado County. The Montserrado County District 6 lawmaker, who was re-elected in October, could stand a better chance in becoming the next Deputy Speaker, considering his experience at the legislature. He continued to contribute significantly in the area of education in his district. The 4th Judicial Circuit Court in Maryland County has sentenced convict Junior Bayon to 50 years in prison for raping a 13-year-old child in Maryland County. Convict Bayon's 50 years imprisonment, according to our judicial correspondent, was announced on Thursday, December 7 by Judge Wisse A. Wisse after the trial jurors passed the final guilty for statutory rape, but defense lawyer took exception to the Judge Wisse's imprisonment term by announcing an appeal to the Supreme Court with the objective of overturning the lower court decision. Our judicial correspondent further said that the 50-year-old convict will complete his jail term at the age of 80 at the National Correctional Palace in Zwedu, Grand Juda County. And Coalition for Democratic Change Lofa County senatorial candidate Moses Colley has withdrawn his case from the National Elections Commission against independent candidate Momo Saros. The former Director General of the Liberian Civil Aviation Authority said the decision to withdraw the case comes following mediations and multiple interventions from stakeholders, including traditional and religious leaders. He has considered defeat, those congratulating the senator-elect Momo Saros, adding that the decision is in the best interest of Lofa's timely representation. Moses Colley also used the occasion to thank the people of Lofa County and the CDC for the huge support he received during the elections and up onto the National Elections Commission legal proceedings. He said though he had a good cause to continue the case using the available factual data, he also kept in mind the unity of Lofa County. Harris, the News Bulletin.
And many thanks to Figa Masari there with the News Bulletin, a regular feature of Punch News Reel. If you're just joining us, it is a reminder that you are listening to Punch News Reel, a 30-minute presentation of major happenings making news in Liberia and as well. Stories we are following tonight. The 4th Judicial Circuit Court in Maryland County sentences convict Junior Gweyu to 50 years in prison for raping a 13-year-old child in Maryland County. Mike Colley, a Liberian based in the United States, receives U.S. Department of State honor for championing transparency, accountability, integrity, and good governance worldwide. House of Representatives instructs the Sergeant at Arms to arrest and immediately report the living body of Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Twe for contempt charges. And away from home, former civilians president Ernest Bar Crowman has been invited for questioning over a field coup plot by the civilian police. We'll take a very short break. To be right back. And then welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. We take our very first development. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission wants President-elect Joseph Boakai to demonstrate political will in supporting efforts to establish an anti-corruption court. LECC chairperson, Councillor Alexandra Zoll, told the Ministry of Information press briefing Thursday that the court, when established, will investigate and prosecute corrupt officials of government. The court will also review legislations and institutional framework relevant to prosecute corrupt cases. She emphasized the importance of the Unity Party to consider the campaign promise of fighting corruption and support the Commission in establishing the court. The LDCC boss alarmed that the commitment of the UP leadership will support key decisions for policy actions and ensure public trust.
That I said that the Unity Party campaign was centered around fighting corruption. And so we use this opportunity for them to display that political will. To fund the institution, number one, there are a couple of outstanding issues when it comes to challenges affecting the LSPC. We will use the opportunity to also call on the government to exhibit political will to help us with the passage of the law to establish the anti-corruption court. Those are political will I'm talking about. Basically, political will to help the LACC perform its jobs.
She is LDCC chairperson, Councillor Alexander Zoll. They're calling on President-elect Joseph Boakai to demonstrate political will in supporting efforts to establish an anti-corruption court. The U.S. Department of State has recognized and honored individuals and institutions, including Mark Colley, a Liberian, for championing transparency, accountability, integrity, and good governance worldwide. Speaking at the ceremony, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the U.S. government is committed to, to continuing, that's to countering corruption and promoting integrity as a form of policy priority and core national security interest. December 9 of every year is the International Anti-Corruption Day, which seeks to highlight the rights and responsibilities of everyone, including states, government officials, civil servants, law enforcement officers, the media, representatives, the private sector, civil society, academia, the public, and the youth in tackling corruption.
And combating corruption. And so the more we're talking to each other, the more we're listening and learning from you, the more effective we're going to be. Now, before speaking to the accomplishments of the awardees, let me underscore that no matter who they are or where they work, none of them does this alone. And I know you would be the first to say that. Indeed, one of the reasons that these leaders are so effective is because they inspire others to join them. So today, we're honoring not only these 11 champions, but all of their partners, including their teammates here at the State Department. Every awardee was nominated by American diplomats around the world, most of whom work side by side with all of our champions to advance our shared priorities. Take any goal of our foreign policy, anything that we really care about, expanding economic opportunity, empowering underserved communities, enhancing security. All of them are served by building more accountable institutions, more accountable societies, more transparency. So we have an abiding interest in rooting out corruption, both to improve lives in local communities and to build more prosperous, more secure, more rights-respecting partners. We were looking at the awardees and learning from their stories. I think what's powerful is you can really draw lessons from each of their work. And I've seen, as we've been talking about this together, maybe 5 things that really jump out. So let me share those with you in talking about the awardees. First, a key part of combating corruption is working to reform corrupt institutions from within, wherever possible. That's a very powerful thing. You heard reference to Veronica Mihailoff-Morora and what she's done in the Republic of Moldova. Having worked as a public defender, she knew firsthand how broken her country's justice system was.
The voice of the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. A 4-day national strategic development workshop aimed at crafting a 5-year development plan for the SOS Children's Village in Liberia has commenced in Monrovia. The 4 days workshop is being organized by the SOS Children's Village Liberia chapter with over 5 local and international partners in attendance. SOS Children's Village Liberia chapter national director Prosper Ninduad provides the overview of the workshop.
Recently, we had dialogue sessions with all stakeholders and participants of our program in Liberia, and we hear how our organization is impacting the lives of many people, including children, young people, and families. Despite these efforts, the general situation of our children across the country is not at the level where we want it to be. Poverty is high, low nutritional diet is high, poor health care, lack of quality in the education, corruption, and climate change pose more risk to children than ever before. In our engagement with children and stakeholders in the last few months, they talk about protection, education, empowerment, sanitation, and amongst others. We take into account these concerns and must continue to work with communities, partners, stakeholders, and the government to effect changes. These concerns should lay to the foundation on what is expecting of us in the coming 5 years. And it is upon all of us here to ensure that their voice, the voice of the children, are here and acted upon.
Also speaking, the Director for Social Assistance at the Ministry of Gender, Afrida Bespen Jacobs, described the workshop as a testament of shared commitment to advancing the well-being of children and reshaping the landscape of children care in Liberia.
Recently, we had dialogue sessions with all stakeholders and participants.
This gathering of stakeholders is a testament to our shared commitment in advancing the well-being of children and reshaping the landscape of child protection in our nation. We appreciate SOS for the invitation and for their many contributions to the ministry and the vulnerable population at large. Over the next 5 days, we embark on a collaborative journey to review and revise programs, placing significant focus on the deinstitutionalization of child care with emphasis on partnership, advocacy, addressing vulnerabilities in communities, strengthening local and improving access to basic services. This is a great initiative because by prioritizing partnership, advocacy, community empowerment, and improving access to services, this strategy holds the potential to positively impact the lives of children across the nation through a collaborative effort. This collaborative effort could be strengthening families, supporting education, healthcare, and other essential services. As we engage in these meaningful discussions and share insights, let us keep in mind the tangible outcomes we hope to achieve. The success of this workshop will be measured not only by the ideas generated, but by the transformative actions that follow. This workshop holds immense potential to positively impact the lives of children across the nation.
Afrida Bespen Jacobs is the Director for Social Assistance at the Ministry of Gender. Earlier listened to SOS Children's Village Liberia Chapter National Director Prosper Nandunda. The administrator and principal of the Haywood Mission Institute, Bishop Dr. Leo Simpson, has called for concerted efforts in tackling issues confronting the education sector of Liberia. Speaking Wednesday on our sisters program, the Punch Morning Conversation, the renowned Liberian educator outlined many challenges facing the education sector. He stressed the need for more pragmatic actions aimed at enhancing the sector and expressed dismay over many of the decisions made in the education sector under the CDC government.
Political. Paying the University of Liberia free education, that's also political. But to me, what any government could do that will affect in a positive way students and parents in this country will be to subsidize educational material in this country. You go to the stationery store, things are very exorbitant. You cannot find textbooks, and those that can be found are unaffordable. So if a government were to subsidize like they do other stuff, things that have to do with education, the prices will significantly come down. That will cut across the board than paying for WIAC fee. These parents can afford to pay for their children that are in the 12th grade, who are in the 9th grade. So it's like a drop in the bucket. To me, it's not necessary, but this is what has been done. If they will just, again, I repeat, educational materials are so expensive in this country that students, parents cannot afford it. Schools are suffering when it comes to papers and ink to run your test. If they will just subsidize educational material in this country, a lot of schools will be helped, parents will be helped, copybooks, oh my goodness, students will be helped. No, but they don't do that. They rather pay YI fee. YI fee, as compared to what they have to do, is very, very minimum. So I really don't see the effect. It hasn't affected the old mission.
Here is the principal of the Haywood Mission Institute, Bishop Dr. Leo Simpson. They're calling for concerted efforts in tackling issues confronting the education sector of Liberia. Today's development now, the hearing committee of the National Elections Commission has dismissed House Speaker Buffer Chimo's allegations of voting fraud in District Number 1, that's District Number 2, a representative election in Maryland County on October 10th this year. The committee, in its ruling Thursday, announced that Speaker Chimo's claimed against Alternative National Congress representative candidate, that's Anthony Williams, were baseless and lacking substantial evidence. The Speaker complaint filed on October 13 accused the NDC staff at precinct 27020 in Old Solicant of engaging in voting fraud, obstruction from campaigning, exchange of votes, insufficient ballot papers at precincts, among others. This is how the hearing officer announced the ruling on Thursday.
Wherefore, and in view of the foregoing facts and law citation, this hearing says that the complaint of the complainant is hereby dismissed for failure to prove sin. This hearing panel says that the result of District Number 2 Maryland County is obtained and declared by NDC for each of the being compared and it is hereby so honored. They don't honor my hand and 2 of the next day from November 2023 and hereby so honored.
Meanwhile, this is a highlight of Representative-elect Anthony Williams and his supporters' jubilation following the pronouncement.
Speaker after national election,
Highlight of Representative-elect Anthony Williams and supporters. They're jubilating following the pronouncement by the National Elections Commission. Earlier, listened to hearing officers of the National Elections Commission ruling in the case involving House Speaker Buffer Chimos and Anthony Williams. Up next is Figo Masari with the foreign development.
Former Sierra Leone President Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma has been invited for questioning on failed coup plot by the Sierra Leone police. The Sierra Leone police served a summons to the former Sierra Leonean leader earlier Thursday, December 7, inviting him to report at the headquarters of the Criminal Investigation Department in Freetown within a period of 24 hours. The former president is invited to assist the police in the ongoing criminal investigations into the November 26th failed attempted coup in Sierra Leone. During the failed coup attempt, an official bodyguard of the former president was fatally shot. The Ministry of Information and Civic Education Sierra Leone says it will continue to provide updates on the matter as the investigation progresses. Meanwhile, the office of the former president, Ernest Bai Koroma, has informed the public that former president has received the invitation from the Inspector General of Police in Freetown. The office president added that he will therefore be traveling to Freetown to honor the said invitation. The former president Koroma appeals for calm, for public support, for the police investigation, and for the due process of the law. Harris from the foreign scene.
Figo Mazarid on the foreign scene, bringing us to an end of this Thursday's edition of Punch Newsreel. Before we leave you, a recap of major stories. Fourth Judicial Circuit Court in Maryland County sentences convict Joshua Gbail to 50 years in prison for raping a 13-year-old child in Maryland County. Mark Colley, a Liberian based in the United States, receives U.S. Department of State honor for championing transparency, accountability, integrity, and good governance worldwide. House of Representatives instructs its sergeant-at-arms to arrest and immediately report the living body of Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toy for contempt charges. And away from home, former civilians president Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma has been invited for questioning on a field coup plot by the civilian police. Thanks to our editors, reporters, and news director who helped in making this package a success. Joseph Sokokon and Saranka chose and produced this presentation. Figo Masare brought you the news bulletin and the foreign development. I'm Harris William. I presented. Good evening.